Hello everybody, back here again for a vlog a day. Today is Thursday the 20th, and today was a lovely, beautiful day to be alive. Got up this morning, fairly decent time frame. Nothing really major going on. Had some dogs coming, all the good fun stuff, so I had to take care of that. I got the dogs wrapped up, taken care of. Got my wife off to work. Went ahead, had a few things get done. Had a dog getting dropped off for a test run, lack of a better term. We did a daycare. They wanted to watch the dog this evening, and for like 3 or 4 days did the meet and greet. It just didn't go real well yesterday, so told them I would give it a try with a basically we could try a daycare a few times, see the dog warms up, and then if we could watch it out long term. And it was one of those situations where I was meeting later, they meant tomorrow, so that's today. So he showed up, dropped the dog off. I told him to bring the food and all that stuff just in case it went well. Then he would make the trip back up from Titusville to drop off food, which would be really dumb. But the fact that I had to suggest that gave me more confidence he was kind of picking his dog up. So I had a little bit of that thought of he's going to backdoor that like long-term stay, was just book it as a daycare, and then depending on how it goes, then it would be there's not coming back to the dog. I had a little bit of that fear, which I don't know what the rules are on Rover and all that kind of stuff, but I think you can go drop the dog off at the shelter, which don't know if I could bring myself to do that. It would be really hard because this dog is a pain in the ass. So kind of is what it is there. And I really thought about afterwards, I should have taken the dog over to my father-in-law's house and been like, hey, do you want to watch this dog? Because the dog's super good around, well, he was not around men, I guess, either, so that wouldn't work. But they brought the dog in. The dog was decent. It's just she's scared of everything. She won't even hardly come to the owners. Like, even when they had her there in the house during the meet and greet, they had a hard time getting her to come back to them even. So made me nervous. And my big fear with that is the fact that the dog would ever get out. The dog's gone. Like, it won't come to the owners. It sure ain't coming to me, and I don't know if we'll ever catch that dog again. It's one of those situations where it's gonna have to be like trapped in somebody's yard or up on somebody's porch or something, and who knows if he'll get hit by a car before then and all that. So that's one of my big fears. But got the dog there. It did pretty well to their dogs. Played a little bit. Got a little growly with a couple of them. I had a Mastiff got dropped off also, and a Doodle, and it got a little bit ornery with the Mastiff, which I'm like, dude, you're picking the wrong dog for this, because that dog is massive. But I was kind of watched him, never fully trusted the dog. So like if I was going back inside, I'd bring that dog in with me, or leave that dog in the backyard and bring the rest of the dogs in. So I wasn't trusting the dog enough to be left alone with other dogs, and that sucks because it wants to be a good dog, you can tell. But at one point, when I first got there, I hooked up a secondary leash to it. So I left like a Dollar Tree leash on it. That I do with a lot of my dogs that don't listen, especially young puppies that don't listen when you tell them to come, or they don't want to come inside because they want to stay outside playing and whatnot. I'll have a leash, that way as they get close to me, I step on the leash, and then I use that as the command to come, and then the dog thinks, well shit, when I hear the word come, I have to be near that person. I don't have a choice in it. It's that whole training process, and it works usually pretty well. So I was doing that with her today, off and on, different times and stuff, and it just never fully sunk in. And a couple of times when I first did it, she spun around backwards and flipped her collar off her head, and it was one of those situations that you could tell she knew exactly what she was doing. It wasn't like it was full on done. Like, the collar was so loose, so I'm like, shit, and I got a dog loose in my house or my yard that doesn't have a collar on it, so I won't be able to catch it for anything. Luckily, opening the house up, getting the dogs running inside, she chased them in also. Once I had her trapped in the bathroom, I was able to tighten up the collar and put it back on again, which the shape of her head and her neck needs a harness, really, truthfully, or some kind of better collar. It goes tighter. This one, so it kept loosening up on me. So I kept having to numerously step on the leash, pull her over and tighten her collar back up, because it's not one that stays in place. It's not with a buckle. It's one of those slide collars that's kind of a pain in the butt. So yeah, that was not the greatest, but it is what it is. For the most part, she just hung out behind me, just scared the whole time. She'd play a little bit here and there, but you'll look at her and she's just shaking. She's just she has that look of somebody came back home with PTSD, just constantly in fear. And it just makes me sad. It really does, because they said they got the dog as a puppy. They said just one day, it was less than a year old, the dog just turned and was just scared of everything. Went from being a perfectly normal dog, just fine, to being terrified of every noise, sound, everything. Even the slightest little sound, car door, neighbor, door slams, you barely hear outside the house, dog jumps and just scared to death. So went ahead, talked to the owner a couple times, let him know, it's doing decent, but it's not great. Give him a heads up, hey, I'm not holding out a lot of hope, but I'm still trying, kind of thing. And back and forth in that, and it was getting that weird time frame of I gotta make a decision here. Do I want to deal with this the next 4 days, or do I want to just cut bait and run? And I went ahead and I had a meet and greet that's coming over. A person I know that has, I guess, a shared custody with a Rottweiler, and it's had issues before with their dogs and around them and stuff. And I didn't realize, I guess, I didn't know it was a shared custody thing. So she shows up for meet and greets, put the dogs away, put the daycare dog in the bathroom by itself, left the dogs outside, had Bruce in the bedroom so I could do the whole meet and greet. And got there, went out there, met her, and he's not there with the dog. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? She was out there for quite a while, and he finally shows up with the dog, which, okay, whatever. And they basically decided that they didn't want to be there with the meet and greet, which also gives me great prowess of, holy crap, how you know your dog is not good when you're literally turning the dog over to me and you don't want to be in the room if they don't want your energy destroying this meet and greet. So I'm like, that's not great, but it is what it is. I brought the dog inside, and she trusts me completely. She knows I've been doing things for dogs for years. She has full faith in that, and that's why she gave me the lead. The dog is a big, giant Rottweiler. So I brought her inside, let her sniff around for a little bit and whatnot. Brought Bruce out. Seemed to be going decent. Didn't really seem to have much trouble at all. I was like, okay, we're good to go here. The dog's been in a couple of squabbles with other dogs and stuff. And I was like, okay, didn't really seem to do much with Bruce. Let them sniff around each other a little while. Everything was going pretty well. I'm like, well, okay, that's cool. So I head back outside, tell him I think we might be able to make this work. We can go from there. Walked to the door, and him and her were both out in the yard. Came out, the dog on leash, Bruce was loose, and then the guy's like, oh, how'd she do that? Just that energy, the dog just quickly changed. Like, you just see it instantly changed. I was like, what the hell? And then she started like being ornery to Bruce, but like not in a playful way. And I was like, okay, Bruce is pretty good about this stuff. He'll kind of tell him to knock it off pretty good. He gave her a little bit of a, bark, kind of like knock it off. And she didn't listen. She kept being ornery. She kind of went after him a little bit, and he really kind of barked at her good, which is normally most dogs would be like, okay, cool, I'm going to stop doing this now. And she didn't. She turned it up and went after him. So at that point, I had to yell at her and kind of get in her ass a little bit, and she didn't pull off. So now I'm pulling back in the lead. I'm basically, smacking her back flanks, and she's not listening. She's still going after him. And luckily, he's big enough, and she's not going to be able to hurt him. She's not trying to kill him yet, but she's being way too aggressive towards him. So the second time, I had to really kind of scold at her, and I slapped up by her neck and got her distracted, got her back from him as I yanked her back. Because it's that weird thing. There's a lot of things you try and break up dog fights, depending on how it's going, how you do it. And I went ahead and just grabbed her. I threw her on the ground across my sidewalk. Threw her on the ground and jumped on the grass on top of her. And I pinned her down. I literally pulled her legs out from underneath, like you'd wrestle like half to the ground. And pinned her down and held her down by her neck. And she was just fighting me. I said, and the woman, it was funny because the guy's like, well, he's like started like trying to like help me get off her. And she goes, no, this is exactly what needs to be done. He needs to do this. So I'm literally sitting on top of this 125 probably pound Rottweiler. I'm squatting on top of this thing like an alligator. And I'm just laying on top of this deal, and I'm waiting for her to settle down. Bruce is running around the yard. He don't give a damn at all. He's not caring one bit. And the dog would start to relax a little bit, and I'd shift my weight, and she'd start fighting me. And I left there for 12 minutes. I lay on top of that dog, just squatting on her, holding her neck down. Once her energy dropped down enough, I let her up. We got some pets in. Everything was good to go. I had Loretta put my dog back in the house. I was open the door, put the dog inside. And then basically once my dog was inside, her dog finally calmed down. But I'm like, you gotta be shitting me. So, but yeah, got some belly rubs in after that. Everything was good. But I'm like, I can't watch your dog. It's too much risk to other clients' dogs and stuff. It's not worth it. I said, maybe in the future, we can try some daycare days, different things when there's nobody else around, less client dogs and stuff. But I definitely can't do it for multiple days on end, because there's no way for me to it's not worth the risk. Because if something happens and to somebody else's dog, I stopped doing this job. I can't do that. So yeah, there's that, but not a good thing. So that went well, as it could have, I guess. I'm just glad it happened now and not after they were gone, and I was responsible for that dog fully. So I was kind of glad it happened the way it did. Because at first I was like, hey, this wasn't bad at all. The dog was no problem. It was no big deal. But then as soon as I got around him, and I don't know if it was his tone, his energy, what it is, he's full beta. Like he's got that energy. The dog had to protect him, I think is what it was. Because she's way more alpha than he is. And the dog is having to pick up on his energy. So I'm learning if I have the lady just drop the dog off and the man's not around at all, that'd make life go easier. But at the same time, I don't get paid to train. I get paid to watch. And I get paid to watch the good dogs. The same as I get paid to watch shitty dogs. So why would I risk my career over a shitty dog for the same price? So kind of learning that I'm not the not the dog whisperer. He got a TV show, he makes millions of dollars. That's not me. I don't get paid for that. I get paid to watch dogs. So I'm kind of taking less of those accounts. Got done with all that, went back in, got the daycare dog back outside. Also that same energy changed my mind about that, and told him, I said, yeah, I went back out, dogs were playing. The daycare dog got a little bit ornery with a couple dogs. Not bad, just kind of ornery, but she wouldn't come to me. Like literally, she'd be right behind me. I'd look back on the chair to look at her, and she'd just cower and run away from me. I'm like, I can't have this. That's too much stress in my life to have a dog that doesn't want to be here. And the sad part is the dog don't want to be anywhere. That's the part that sucks. So I was like, I told the guy, I hit him up. I'm like, hey, I don't think it's gonna fit, man. The dog's not like gonna be injured or get in trouble here, but it's just not happy. And when it's not happy, that adds stress to my life, and it's not worth it. And one of the things we want to do this weekend, we're going down to a BDM meetup down in Cocoa Beach, and I can't bring that dog home, which technically they say, oh, the dog gets crate at times, you can put her in a crate. But I'm like, it's not fair. You're paying me to not do it. So I think they're going to go to one of these border shelters that you basically stick them in the crate all week, and they let them out for half an hour 3 times a day. And that's what happens when you don't train your dog and socialize enough. It just sucks. And it really sucks because 2 in a row, same, back to back, had to do it with, had turned down. And that just hurts my heart. It really, really does. So, but yeah, got that done. They came and picked the dog up. I went and got my run in. Got done with my run. Had another dog got picked up. So waited around for that one. So before I got my shower, gave back the Mastiff. That Mastiff's such a great dog. They're going back to New York. They got their house sold up there, I guess, whatever. So they're gonna go up there for a couple months, getting things wrapped up with that. So they come back down, and I'm gonna miss that dog. Dog's a good dog. That's one of the ones that comes there literally just to get played with, because where they're living right now doesn't have a yard. So it's basically, my house is like a safe dog park basically for the day. So that's what we end up with, which works out really, really well. And I'm happy to have her. She's such a good dog. She's such a great dog. But I'm gonna miss her. So hopefully get back down here. Hopefully I find a place locally here where they're going to show back up and have a place so I can keep watching that dog, because I like that dog a lot. So some good looking concrete work up there. So I'm not sure there's gonna be a garage or what that is, but pretty nice size slab, which I'm trying to get done myself. So, but yeah, got some quotes for concrete and whatnot, and it's been an event as well. Some people are just, you can tell, I don't know how they're in business, I really don't know, but other people seem completely professional, and they're probably the con artists. Who the hell knows? It's hard telling. But got done with that, got my shower, get the dog back, decided to eat some dinner. So we had some basically spaghetti with some like weird shaped pasta that all broke apart, so little rectangle squares of pasta and spaghetti sauce. And so we knocked out for dinner, and that's the first actual meal I've eaten since Sunday morning when I got off the ship for breakfast. I've had a small, like a big vending machine sized bag of chips, and then I had 2 little bowls of chips at night with some chips and dip, and then I had 2 peanut butter eggs. That's all I've eaten since Sunday morning, getting off the ship on the 16th. So I finally feel like eating something, and after I got eaten, I had a little bowl. Usually I eat like twice that much, but I had a little tiny bowl of the spaghetti, and didn't feel bad afterwards, but I didn't feel good. I was just kind of I ate. So we'll see what tomorrow brings after I finally start eating real food again. So anyway, that's all I got for right now. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have yourself a safe, wonderful day. Thanks for watching.